So it's another week and I have a bunch more transfer rumours to bring to you guys today. We also have quite a bit of managerial news as well. The championship season may be over, but the rumour mill is certainly not slowing down. If you see any of the rumours that we don't mention in today's video, then make sure to get them into the comments down below. Also, if you did go to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like. But without any further ado, let's just hop into some of the managerial news at the moment. And so we'll kick things off with the news of Paul Cook, who looks set to resign as the Wigan Athletic manager after they went into administration and then obviously their relegation to League One. Now, Paul Cook at the moment is being heavily linked with the Bristol City job. He's actually by far the front runner at this point in time, so I'd like to know from Bristol City fans, what do you make of this one? I think for some time Bristol City fans have had their hearts set on Chris Hughton, and now for it to be looking like Paul Cook, it's an interesting one. I do think that Wigan will be very sad to see him go. You know, if you look at his record there, he got them promoted from League One the first time of asking, going up as champions that year, had a solid year in the championship last time round, solidifying their place in the league, and actually this time round had a really good season with them. It was just for the points deduction that they ended up being relegated. He's got a win percentage there of 41.3%. The Bristol City job is an interesting one though, because it's certainly very different, a different sort of scope of job than what he's had in the past. You know, previously been at likes of Portsmouth, Chesterfield, where he did very well there, but working on like a smaller budget. At Bristol City, it's very different expectations, and so I would be interested to see how we go about adapting to the new culture and expectations at a club like Bristol City. Obviously, his time at Wigan there, the football wasn't always like the sparkling best, but Wigan were always sort of like an effective side under him, weren't they? And like I say, I think that Wigan fans will be very sad to see him go for all that he's achieved at the club. But would Paul Cook be the man to push them on to the next level and take them one further that Lee Johnson couldn't deliver on? I don't know, it'd be interesting to know from Bristol City fans, what do you think of this one, and what would Wigan fans think as well? And then to the Birmingham vacancy, where it's looking like Aitor Karanka at the point of recording is set to be their new manager. I think this one would be a really exciting one for Birmingham actually. I've liked Karanka for quite a while now. Obviously did really well at Middlesbrough, got them promoted, had a few good years there. His time at Nottingham Forest ended a little bit abruptly, didn't it? But overall for the championship and for a club like Birmingham who are looking to push on to that next level, I think that this would be a really ambitious move actually. I think something that Birmingham have been quite guilty of over the past few years is flipping between different styles of managers. You know, they went with a very pragmatic Gary Rowett and then they flipped over to Gianfranco Zola with a completely different style. They went back to that sort of pragmatic way with Gary Monk a little bit, then tried the different route with Pep Carlotta. I think that if they get Karanka, they need to go ahead and fully back him. Pick your manager, pick your philosophy and stick to it, and even when things do get tough, try and run with it, because with a manager like Karanka and his track record, if there's anyone that can sort out the sort of chaos that goes on behind the scenes of Birmingham, I'd back a man like Karanka to go ahead and do that, I think. Birmingham fans, what do you make of this one? And the other week we also saw Carlos Corberán confirmed as the new Huddersfield Town manager. Now this one is one that does excite me a little bit. Obviously they wanted to go down a different route than the Cowleys, and he's an exciting up and coming coach. You know, Leeds United themselves saw him having a big future to play at the club there. With a manager like this though, you know, fairly inexperienced, we could see it going one of two ways. You know, we all saw what happened with Birmingham this season and Pep Carlotta. Huddersfield fans will be hoping for a different outcome in that aspect. But that's some of the recent managerial speculation going around the league. Now let's hop in to some transfer rumours. The first one that caught my eye was Dylan Phillips. He's been linked around to quite a few championship clubs at the moment. Derby, Huddersfield, Cardiff and Middlesbrough have all been mentioned. Derby especially is one club who could really do with the keeper over this transfer window, and Dylan Phillips is one who I think had a really good season for Charlton. They did concede a lot of goals, but that wasn't really the fault of Phillips. Actually, no goalkeeper has made more saves this season in the championship than Dylan Phillips, 156. He made some absolutely spectacular double saves along the way, and if it wasn't for Phillips, I think that Charlton would have been in a much stickier situation and would have been relegated much sooner than had they not had him in there. A goalkeeper like Phillips, who has obviously recently been relegated with Charlton, who won't be in the best bargaining position, I think this could be a really good deal for them. He's only 25 years old, has a lot of scope to go on and get better. As well as that, is also now entering into the final year of his contract, and should he not sign a new deal with Charlton, like I say, it doesn't leave them then in the best bargaining position. And I think that he is championship standard, there's no doubt about that. He has been, for me at least, you know, I'd put him into the bracket as one of the best keepers this season, I'd say. Another Charlton player being linked away at the moment is Macaulay Bonne. He's been linked all around the championship with Derby, Norwich, Cardiff, Fulham and Burnley all interested in the striker. I think that this season he probably ended up playing a little bit more football than he expected to, really, coming over from the National League in Leyton Orient. With how many injuries key players at Charlton picked up, he, like I say, he ended up playing a lot of football. 26 starts and 7 appearances from the bench in that time, scored 11 goals and got 2 assists. I think he'd be quite a good option for quite a few of those clubs. Lewes now had a bid rejected for Charlton left back Alfie Dougherty, another player who probably ended up playing a little bit more football than he expected to this season, but would be a really good option for someone like Lewes, I think, who under Nathan Jones, fullback's a very important position. You know, when they play that diamond in midfield, it's important you get those fullbacks bombing on and moving forward. And I think that going forward, he definitely offers something. Really impressed with with how he played at Deepdale. He was playing as a wing back in that game. This season for Charlton though, he popped up with 2 goals and 4 assists. At only 20 years old, he looks like a really valuable prospect. I think Luton bid around about 400k, that being rejected. Wouldn't be at all surprised to see them going back in for him. Definitely scope for him to be a really good championship player. Moving over to QPR now, I think that most QPR fans are expecting them to lose Eze in this summer transfer window. The last video we spoke about Asai Samuel and his links away to the Premier League. Eze is another one who, I mean, there's going to be a bit of a rebuilding job at QPR there. It was very similar last summer, actually, the job that Warburton had. I think that this summer, it's going to be the same case, really, where he's going to have the squad ripped up from underneath him, isn't he? You know, the lone players returning and then losing your 2 key players like this as well. The question is, how much money are they going to get for him and where's he actually going to go? There were reports heavily linking him with a move to Crystal Palace. They came out in the past couple of days, and recently as well, we've seen West Ham United also being heavily linked with him. The move being worth around £20 million. That's what a lot of people are speculating at the moment, which I think, you know, in this current situation would be fair money for someone like Eze. I'd say around 20 million. He's a fantastic talent, you know, 22 years old, 14 goals, 8 assists this season, has been, you know, outstanding. He gets into my championship team of the season. I think all the QPR fans realise that he is a Premier League player in waiting. It's just a question of how they go about reinvesting that money back into other areas of the squad. And one particular area that QPR are looking into is a striker. Last week we spoke about their links to Kiefer Moore. If that one doesn't manage to materialise, then it looks like a move back in for Jordan Hugill could be on the cards. I think he's had a good solid season for QPR this time around. In 30 starts, 9 appearances from the bench, scored 13 goals for them and got an assist. I think he's a good solid championship striker, works really hard. For a target man as well, he's actually very mobile, can press the opposition really well. I think that's something about his game which is actually really underrated, brings others into play, and his finishing can be a little bit erratic at times. There's no getting away from that, but I'd be interested from QPR fans, if you were to buy Hugill outright, what's the most you would pay for him? Let me know down below. Another striker who's been linked around the championship at the moment is Ivan Toney. Been linked to quite a few over the last month or so. Bristol City, Forest have all been linked. I think Derby at one point as well, but the strongest rumour at the moment with the championship is at Brentford. There was one rumour going around that they had a £4 million bid accepted, which could rise up to 9 million, but going off the Peter Chairman's Twitter account, that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. But he did put out on Twitter that they have had multiple bids from him from Premier League, Championship and one team from Scotland, which is expected to be Celtic, for the services of Ivan Toney. But as of today, he is still our player. I think that it would fit into Brentford's recruitment policy. You know, should they not be promoted and get through the playoffs, it would be very tough for them to keep hold of the likes of Ben Rama and Watkins. You know, there's going to be a lot of Premier League interest there, and you'd expect them to be coming into a lot of money if those 2 players are to leave. And Ivan Toney, I think, would be a great replacement. We have seen over the years, you know, strikers smash it in League One, but not being able to make that step up to the Championship. I don't think Ivan Toney will have that problem. I think he's got all the physical attributes as well as the technical skills to be able to make that jump up. I mean, his numbers in League One are absolutely terrific. 24 goals this season and 5 assists. He's a very exciting player, and at only 24 years old as well. I think he perfectly fit into this Brentford side. And should he go anywhere, I think that Brentford would be a sensible move for his career as well. So I could see that one coming off for sure. Spurs youngster Oliver Skipp's been linked around the league at the moment with Fulham, Forest and Reading all interested in the 19-year-old midfielder. I think that in this summer transfer window, especially with maybe a lack of resources for quite a few championship clubs with the whole COVID situation, the loan market will be as important as ever going into next season. I think that some clubs could really get some good deals out of this. Skipp, obviously very highly rated by Spurs, hasn't played all too much football this season. He's played a bit in the first team, 11 appearances, most of those coming off the bench. But I think that in this point of his career, a loan move would be the sensible option. And all those 3 clubs that I mentioned previously have all had decent track records with bringing in some loanees over the last few years. Another Spurs youngster being linked up to the Championship is Troy Parrott, who's been heavily linked with a move to Millwall at the moment. This one would be a really good deal for them. Parrott, who of course has seriously impressed in albeit under 23s football so far, but a low move to the Championship would make sense, and he is someone who has the potential to absolutely smash it. You know, we've seen the likes of someone like Brewster at Swansea and how well he's done. This would be a really good deal for Millwall if they got him on loan for this season. Speaking of the Spurs players as well, Leeds United have been linked to defender Juan Foyth. The young Argentinian being linked with a £15 million move to Ellen Road. We're still really none the wiser what's going to be happening with Ben White at Leeds, whether they're going to be able to get him back, you know, whether they're going to have the funds for that with how much Brighton are going to be asking for. But defence is definitely going to be an area where Leeds are going to be looking into strengthening, and Foyth has been an interesting one that definitely caught my eye for Leeds. Now, he's played quite a bit of football for Argentina as well as Spurs. He is the sort of player whose profile looks in to fit in with someone like Bielsa's. He is quite diverse. I know he's played quite a bit at fullback for Argentina and can also play at centre-back, which is probably his preferred position. I think under a coach like Bielsa, he would be a really exciting prospect, but obviously Leeds fans, I think all their hopes are pinned on Ben White at the moment, aren't they? Axel Tuanzebe Xavier was another player who I saw being linked to Leeds as well. Had a very good loan spell the other season out on loan with Aston Villa. Thought he was really successful there in the Championship with them, and probably needs that move away from Man United if he does want regular first team football. And then finally on Leeds United, goalkeeper Sergio Romero has also been linked with a move to Ellen Road at the moment. I think that any Argentinian's been linked with the move to Leeds at the moment, isn't he? But would be a really interesting option actually. I'm not sure how much of a future Kiko Casilla has there really. Obviously Meslier is a very exciting one, but still at a very young age. Someone like Romero though I think would be a very good option for Leeds in the Premier League. I think probably, you know, one of the best number 2s in world football at United at the moment, isn't he? And with Dean Henderson possibly coming back to United and returning in the summer, if he's going to want to push to here for that number 1 spot, doesn't leave much of a space there for Romero. Both Preston North End and Millwall have been linked to defender Ben HENEGHAN, who is available on a free transfer this summer after being released by Sheffield United. Spent the last 2 seasons out on loan with Blackpool in League One. I think this one more than anything looks like he'd come in as maybe a backup option for either side really. You know, Preston looking for that replacement for Tom Clark. We experimented a little bit more with 3 at the back towards the end of the season, so should we play that system a little bit more next season, we probably would need a bit more cover there. The same for Millwall as well, who also use a similar system. And North End have also been linked with Leon striker Rio Griffiths as well. He made the move over to Leon after doing quite well at Spurs actually. He scored a lot of goals in youth football, but has yet to make that step up to the senior level. Leon are looking to get him on a loan out back to England to continue his development there. It looks like the Championship is his most likely destination. The 2 clubs I've seen most interested at the moment have been North End and Sheffield Wednesday. Now, North End of the past few years, I don't think we have the best track record with the loan market. I mean, if you look at who came in for us this season on loan, you know, Andre Green didn't really work out. Brandon Barker before that, another one who didn't really work out. And then Lucas Metro, I think you can make an argument for. I quite enjoyed him at Preston, but apart from that, we've not really been all too successful with this area. So it is something that I'd like us to do a lot more of, and something like this, a transfer rumour link like this, does get me a little bit more excited that we're at least looking in these areas. I've also seen recently that Jack Colback's been linked with a move back to the City ground. Had a really good loan spell the other season, to be fair, while he was there, and he's now a free agent after being released by Newcastle. So Forest fans, would you take Jack Colback back? I think he might be a decent option under Lamucci, to be fair. Swansea have been linked to Manchester United youngster James Garner. We spoke about this one a few weeks ago as well, with Sheffield Wednesday being interested, but you know, we all know how successful Swansea have been this season with playing the low market, and should they not be promoted, Man United are looking to get him out on loan to a Championship club next season. Really promising player, central midfielder. There's also been reports that Middlesbrough have had a bid put in for Northampton captain Charlie Gouda, a bid of around 750k, really rated quite highly, had an excellent season with Northampton as they were promoted from League 2. As well as Borough being interested, there's also been links to QPR, Derby and Sheffield Wednesday for the centre-back. And then finally, Rotherham United have been linked to Manchester City goalkeeper MURIC. Now, MURIC, he didn't have the greatest of loan spells this time round to Forest, did he? If he does get another crack at the Championship, I'm interested to see how we do over a full season at a side like Rotherham. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. These transfer rumour videos will be coming out more regularly as the weeks do go on. We're going to be seeing a lot more transfer rumours coming out. But apart from that will now wrap it up, like I said, guys. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Really looking forward to watching both playoff semi-finals that are going on this week. I think we're going to get a lot of drama in those, aren't we? Leave all your thoughts in the comments down below for how you see this transfer window going for your club and all that good stuff like that. But apart from that, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for some regular Championship content, and I'll see you all in the next one.